Former Grand Rapids State Senator accused of soliciting who he thought was a minor for sex is going to change his plea to guilty. It's according to court records filed in connection to Justin Eichhorn's federal case today. The 42-year-old was one of 13 men arrested in March of 2024 during a sting by Bloomington police. Eichhorn originally pleaded not guilty and was set to go to trial next month, but he's expected to officially change his plea during a hearing Thursday. Eichhorn's attorneys originally wanted the federal case dismissed, arguing Eichhorn was charged federally because he was a lawmaker and only because he was a lawmaker. A judge rejected that request. Eichhorn faces a minimum sentence of 10 years, but no word yet how his guilty plea could impact that.